Hello everybody and welcome to Sin City Living. My name is Jason. I'll be bringing you today's episode. Now, most of the updates and things for the channel we're putting at the end of each video so that people can skip right through it, skip right to it and hear about it, or just not watch that portion at all. But a couple things that I do want to bring up real fast, doing a couple of small changes to what we're doing here. Kind of going back to the roots, going back to the basics. And what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the strategies. And please email us any strategies you would like us to shoot videos on, even if it's ones we've already done in the past, over the past year and a half. I can't go through all of our videos and dredge up all of the strategies so I can remember them all. So please, please, please email them to us. And this is how I'm going to do it. Each one is going to be a series of videos. I'm going to do the initial video where I will present the strategy, go over it, analyze it, talk a little bit about the strategy, some of its strengths, some of its weaknesses. And then I will shoot another video or a series of videos. It's going to be 2 or 3 videos of how it stacks up on the statistical likelihood rolls. 15 rolls without a 7, 30 rolls without a 7, 45, and 60. How it would stack up on basically 10 minute to hour and a half long rolls. And that will be split up into 2, sometimes maybe 3 videos, depending on how long it takes. And then after that, I will shoot another video where we will do that particular strategy under some live rolls. Now, the live roll strategies, the live roll videos, those are going to be going on the Patreon site for our patrons. But the other 3 to 4 videos will be on our regular YouTube channel. After that, I'm going to stitch all of them together, except for the live roll, but I'll stitch all the rest of them together into one long video for our daily premiere, where everyone is able to chat with each other and amongst themselves. Hasn't quite gone the way I was hoping it would go, but one unexpected bonus to it is that I have noticed that there's been a lot of chat going on between the fans. So I'd like to continue that, keep that going. So we'll continue doing these premiere videos so that everybody can chat with each other. And I go through the chats and get ideas for videos and stuff like that, because while I'm doing these strategy series, I'm still going to have the other videos in between, plus crossfires and stuff like that when I can get Louie. Thank you, by the way, to West and I believe it was East Coast Craps for the support on today's premiere. We really, really appreciate that. It's going to be very helpful for us to continue growing the channel. And thank you also to everybody for the coffees. Very appreciated. Very, very appreciated. I am living on coffee right now. With all of that being said, sorry for how long it took, we're going to go ahead and jump into today's video. Welcome back, everybody, to video number 2 in this particular series. Again, couldn't come up with a 4th one for our patrons as an exclusive on this, but that's okay. Not everyone is gonna be something that we can do that for. So the last one was how the dealers can make the experience a great experience for everybody. Now we're going to talk about how the players can make it a great experience for everybody. The next video we're going to combine the two and how they can work together. So with the players, how to make the game a great experience for everybody. And I don't mean for the dealers, but for the other players around you as well. But for both. You want to make the game should be a great experience for everybody on the table. Not just the players, but even the dealers should not be absolutely miserable dealing to specific players. When players make it too miserable for the dealers to deal to them, oftentimes those players end up crossing the line to where they get removed from the casino. But you kind of have your middle ground. And same thing when we actually removed somebody the other day because they were impacting the other player at the table. There's only 2 players on the table. So we usually, when it's just 1 or 2 players, we give a lot more leeway. When it's 1 player, we give a lot more leeway. But in this case, he was impacting the other player's experience. We gave him a couple warnings, and then not only was he removed from the table, he was actually removed from the casino entirely. So ways that the players can make the game a great experience for everybody. Number 1, the biggest one, don't be a jerk. And that actually applies to everybody. Dealers, box, players. Don't be a jerk. That's it. Plain and simple. Don't be a jerk. You'd be surprised how much of a difference that can make. I actually had somebody that I used to work with in another industry that used to say that don't be a jerk, as he would say that was pretty much the guiding principle to life. To anything you do, don't be a jerk, and that's pretty accurate, really. Don't be an out of control drunk. That irritates players oftentimes more than it irritates dealers. The super loud, profanity-ridden, which will get somebody kicked off the table. I will point out that every casino, but one or two that I know of, does allow minors, and obviously not in the gaming area. They can't hang out in the gaming area, but they walk through. They walk through to their rooms. They're taken through to their rooms, to the pool, to the stores, to the restaurants. Plus the mothers, the grandmothers, all that. So these players that are like, I'm a grown adult. You can't tell me how to talk. I'm gonna cuss if I want. Yeah, absolutely, you can absolutely cuss as much as you want somewhere else. If you want to claim to be a grown adult, you have to act like a grown adult. Profanity-laced, racist-laced comments. That's going to get people removed. The super aggressive one. I've seen players that get really aggressive with other players that are just encroaching on their space. The table can hold 8 players. Actually, the rail. If you guys ever go and count the little slots for the chips on the rail, you notice there's usually 10 spots. There's usually 10 spots for chips. Generally, the tables will only hold 8, and if more than 8, we won't allow them to play. There's a few rare exceptions, but when that does happen, we usually don't allow them to play place bets. We may allow them to do the field, the 9th and 10th player, do the field or something like that. But 8 players, the table's really not that big. Unless it's 8 rail-thin players, usually you have people actually standing behind another player, then have to squeeze in to make their bets. It just doesn't fit everybody. So these players that want all this wide space around them, well, you're just being a dick. You don't have any claim to any space except the space that your body is actually occupying. You get about 1/8 of an inch away from your skin, and you have no claim on that space. And if somebody is trying to play the game, they have every right to play the game just like anybody else. Also, the players that seem to think that this is some skill-based person-on-person game. What I mean by that is the ones that start grumbling or yelling at or talking crap to players that are playing that don't. That's stupid. Again, if you're playing roulette and you bet red and someone bets black, you're certainly not yelling at them for betting against you. It's just stupid. They're betting on the dice. And what's funny is a lot of times I see those players, when it's not their role, they'll go play the don'ts. It's ridiculous. It's mind-boggling, this double standard that people have, this foolishness that's in their head. A don't player is not betting against the shooter, because this is not a skill-based game. Despite what people think with the ones that believe in, that's the thing, they believe in certain things on the table. People don't believe in math. People don't believe in physics, but they believe in certain things. That tells you how actual real it is. It's not a skill-based game. As long as the rules are followed, it is entirely a random game. If the player was spinning the ball in roulette instead of a dealer, and someone bets on, say, red when that player is betting on black, they're still not betting against the player. It's not skill-based. If the player was spinning the ball, that doesn't mean that it's skill-based, that all of a sudden that player is like the Jordan of the game. It doesn't work that way. And again, we've actually removed players that get aggressive with other players because of the bets they make. Like, so what? So when you want to make it a great experience for those around you, have fun with the game. Because remember, it's a game. This is supposed to be entertainment. Once it stops being entertainment, that's the point where people just might have a little bit of a problem. It's entertainment. You're supposed to be having fun. Last night was a very, very great example of that. We had these kids come in that they were all between 21 to 23. For some of them, it was their first time ever in a casino. For most of them, actually, it was a big group, 6 or 7 of them. But we had 3 of them come up to the table, and we had a player that is one of the quasi-regulars, and usually he grumbles at everything people do, from putting their hands in the table, making late bets, betting the don'ts. He grumbles at everything, and he was right next to these kids. And he was shooting, and he had just made his point, and they're coming out, and these kids had been playing the don'ts, and they'd already lost a couple times, so they've got their bets up, and this player's like, all right, let me see what I can do, as he's shaking the dice and going through his, hey, look at me ritual, let me see what I can do. One of the kids goes, he might just knock us out. And then he kind of chuckles, and this player that usually grumbles just looks at him and goes, oh, maybe. And sure enough, he rolls an 11. So they lose, and it knocks out two of them. They're completely broken. They're like, oh, yeah, you knocked us out. And they're kind of chuckling a little bit, and he cracks a smile as well. And after they left, I mentioned to one of the dealers, like, that's the kind of player that's exactly what you want on your game. They're just having fun. If they win, cool, they're going to cheer a little bit, they're going to have some fun with it. If they lose, they're not going to take it personal either. They win or lose with a smile because they had fun. And that player actually had fun with them. He didn't get aggressive with them, even though normally he would have been. And I think it had to do a little bit with their youth and the fact that these guys pretty much never stop smiling. It's kind of tough to get mad at somebody that's just kind of smiling and, hey, you knocked me out, good shot. Oh well, that sucks. So they're leaving, and he's like, good luck, guys, because they were just having fun. That's the thing. Have fun. Don't be aggressive. Don't be a jerk. Another thing that will make the game a great experience for everybody around is for players that understand not the rules, because it's not the rule. We'll get into rules in a second. Not so much the rules, but the generally accepted etiquette on the table. There are a few exceptions. The people that think, you should never buy into the middle of a roll. That's a whole bunch of BS. If you want to bet, by all means, buy into the middle of the roll. Wait till the dice are in the middle, but buy in the middle of the roll. If you're going to bet, by all means, you have every right to bet. If not, then the game wouldn't allow mid-roll buy-ins, just like some blackjack tables don't allow mid-shoe entry and stuff like that. But since it is allowed, you're more than welcome to make a bet. If you're not going to make a bet, don't buy in. Just wait. But if you're going to make a bet, by all means, buy in. But some of the other commonly held etiquette rules of craps, for instance, don't put your hands on the table when the shooter's throwing the dice. People that do this late bet, especially those ones that will have the bet in their hand and be holding it because they somehow think it's cool to dart their hand in when the shooter has the dice and is getting ready to throw. No, it's not cool. It's disruptive, and it annoys every other player. More often than not, when I see words being exchanged between players to where we have to get involved, or security has to get involved, it's one of two things. It's either a pass, don't pass player, in which case generally the pass player gets kicked out because they're the ones that initiated. And the other time is people that stick their hands in the table with late bets or additional buy-ins or color-ups, things along those lines, while the dealer's trying to throw the dice. Both of those typically lead to words being exchanged between the players, because it's just kind of a commonly held etiquette. Same thing with the late bets. It's a commonly held etiquette. And the other thing is, when the dealers give a warning on something, some people get super aggressive about it, and there's absolutely no need. If the dealers give a warning about something, then it is a policy or it is a game protection thing. The late bets, we give warnings, hey, get us your bets for the dice in the middle. Hey, get us your bets for the dice in the middle. That is actually a game protection thing. The dealers are trying to protect their jobs. And at a certain point, they're just going to say, hey, no bet. And some players are like, oh, I'm sorry, yeah. And when they're, oh, my bad, I'm sorry. Then we'll start reminding them, the dice will throw, we'll put them in the middle, hey, now's the time to make a bet if you want to make that bet. And hopefully they do, and hopefully they follow through. Here's a great example, actually, of good attitude, great attitude, good experience for the game, poor experience for the game. So I had a player last night, actually. It was one of those that plays with the dice and wants to do this a lot. And the thing is, he was doing this. And when he did that, I told him, hey, do me a favor, don't roll the dice forward. Now, a lot of times when you have the players that are going through this whole ritual, they get super aggressive. Yeah, I'm throwing that. You don't tell me what to do. There's not any rules, anything like that. And those players have now put a target on their back. Now they're going to be watched by everybody. And this player And I will also preface this with saying that never assume anything about anybody either. This player was covered in tattoos, face, hands, pants sagging slow. His belt was basically around his mid-thigh. A lot of people would make assumptions about this player. He's sitting there playing with the dice, and hey, do me a favor, don't roll forward like that. I can't do it like that. How about towards myself or back? And I was like, yeah, absolutely, towards yourself or back. Because the problem is when you're rolling forward like that to the cameras up top, that's a roll. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, cool. Like, awesome, great attitude. We corrected him on something that is actually a policy, and he accepted it and asked an additional question or two to clarify, and then awesome, no problems. There was no issues, nothing. It was great. We did our jobs. He accepted it and adjusted off of it, and everybody continued to have a great time. Continued to enjoy themselves. So, it all, again, boils down to attitude, and don't be a jerk. So I hope you guys find this interesting, illuminating, enlightening, or at least just plain fun. Oh, I forgot one thing. Another thing that will make the game a better experience for everybody around, know your bets. Know your bets. If you're still unfamiliar with certain things on the game, if it's a slower game or not a lot of players, ask questions. But otherwise, if it's a busy game and really flying, don't bet the bets that you're just now learning. Bet the ones that you already know and know how to bet them, so that the game keeps flowing. There's nothing that frustrates the players more than one person that stops the game. And that's also something I see on a nightly basis, day in, day out, every single night. The game is stopped because one player doesn't know what they're betting, has a ton of questions, doesn't understand the questions that are being asked of them while we're trying to clarify their bets. And every other player is like, we need to move the dice. Can we move the dice? You're stopping the dice. Dice are getting cold. Whatever. Maybe they're getting really frustrated, but we can't do anything because the player has every right to bet, and we need to clarify what they're trying to bet. So when the game is really moving, when the game is really busy, just bet what you know. So again, thank you everybody for watching. We will catch you next time. Bye now. Thank you everybody for watching today's video. And as promised, a little bit more detail on things that we are working on. So again, we want to continue trying to expand the channel. We're really hoping to be able to add roulette as soon as possible, and then some video keno, video slots, stuff along those lines. Unfortunately, it ate up almost all of our cash. Paying off all of our bills during the month of January while we were down, and now that the holidays have ended, YouTube's payouts have dropped significantly, so we're kind of treading water here as far as all that goes. Do have a lot of things we want to add, though, not just those things, those additional games, and hopefully some carnival games and such like that, but the live streams. The biggest problem right now with the live streams is with 3 jobs combined between the 2 of us, 4 if I include the 20 to 30 hours a week I'm putting into the YouTube channel. It's very, very difficult for me to have a day and time that I can commit to doing the live stream every single week, because we also have our very young child to take care of. But I'm trying to figure that out. I'm thinking it's probably going to end up being on Monday nights or Tuesday afternoons, or possibly both. I intend to do at least one live stream exclusively for our patrons, and then another one on the YouTube channel. So possibly both days. We also have a few other things that we really want to attempt to move forward on. I'm just running into either time or skill set issues. I do want to eventually have a website going for us. I did used to program websites over a decade ago. A lot of things have changed, and I just don't have that time. And not a whole lot of knowledge on the current state of building websites, hosting what sites can host, and how to build up the e-commerce stuff. So if anybody has any skill sets along those lines and would like to answer some questions or just help us out, shoot us an email, sincitylivingLV@gmail.com. Also, I really hope to be able to start adding some exclusive stuff from Sin City Living, logoed shirts, hats. I'm looking to get custom dice made, even custom layouts made, although those would be pretty expensive. But I know zero about e-commerce and drop shipping and anything along those lines. So if you have any skill or knowledge in that area, please email me. I would love to ask you some questions and see if you can answer a few to help me figure out how to get that going. Same thing with designing our logos. You know, I had some logos designed, very, very small logos, unfortunately, not big enough to blow up to put on T-shirts and stuff like that. And again, I know I know nothing about logo design, graphic design, any kind of websites that could do it. I literally know nothing. So if you have any skill or knowledge in that area also, please email me, and you're willing to answer some questions, please email me and let me know. I'll admit I don't even know where to start as far as asking some questions, but I'm sure I'll ask a few and that'll trigger a few more, so on and so forth. So yeah, there's that, and of course we do hope to continue to improve our AV setup, but I am an AV moron, so also right there, if you have any skill sets or knowledge in that area, please email me, and are willing to answer some questions. Please email me and let me know. We would love to help. Otherwise, again, thank you everybody for watching, and we're very excited to continue bringing you our videos. Bye now.